Plural Noun Proposition papers. This section of our course is writing the introduction. And if you're following along with us in order, you'll see that the first thing we did was we determined the proposition. Second thing we did was we composed an outline of that proposition. The third thing that we required was that we created or prepared the body of the paragraph or the proposition. And now the fourth step is actually writing the introduction. You think, well, wait a minute, I thought we already wrote the introduction. Or you're thinking, why are we writing the introduction now? It's fourth on our list. If you remember, especially if you're following along in our last episode of preparing the body of your paper, that I said that these are all rough drafts. Okay, your paper's not finished yet. Okay, we're writing a paper. We're writing a plural noun proposition paper in steps. And so our first step then is, well, we have to determine what we're writing about, right? We have to know what is it we're writing about. And so the steps that we've taken, we take a look at brainstorming, right? So we brainstorm the ideas. In our brainstorming session, we determined the actual proposition of our paper. In a lot of the projects that we're going to do, we're going to take a look at a video or we're going to read a chapter in a book, and we're essentially going to say, summarize it. Well, summarize what? Summarize chapter 3. Well, what was chapter 3 about? That's for you to explain to the reader as though they've never read chapter 3. They don't even know what book you're talking about. And so you're going to have to be clear and explain to them, well, you do that with determining your proposition. And then you're going to compose an outline. Why? So that we have structure, so that we stay on course, so that we're clear and we're concise. And then the preparation of the body. So we have the skeleton, and now we're starting to pack on the meat, right? We're using supporting evidence, supporting facts. We're using illustrations. This thing's really coming together. So we have these in place. And what we want to do now is say, okay, I have some great notes. I have a great start, but I'm really not done. I have a bunch of choppy sentences. I just have statements, right? It's not smooth. It's not finished work. It's still just more like outline and structure. And so what we want to do is look at the body of the paper and now start putting together the final piece. And so we go back to the beginning. We know what we were talking about. We were talking about our favorite movies. We started adding some structure to that. We started adding some facts, some key points, some illustrations. Does the body match the introduction? Because now I've gotten ahead of myself, right? So I'm going to go back to the introduction. I might have to adjust or change it. Maybe you're doing a research project. Maybe you're doing something and you're learning as you go. That's a great thing. Your original proposition might change. You might do your research and your study and you realize you were wrong, or your supporting facts were wrong. You need to adjust your argument. Maybe the final argument is still the same. You believe that there should be border walls, but your reasons are now different. You're going to have to change the introduction. So we're going back to the introduction. We're looking at the body of the introduction, and we look back at sentence 1. Remember, I enjoy movies with heart that inspire me. Our question was, give 3 movies that are your favorite movies, right? What are your favorite 3 movies? I went back and brainstorming and said, okay, I enjoy movies with heart that inspire me, okay? My 3 favorite movies that inspire me are Ben-Hur, It's a Wonderful Life, and Rocky. Okay, I'm going to look at that and then write my sentence. Remember I said Ben-Hur is an epic journey about faith, friendship, and family. It's a Wonderful Life is a powerful tale of one man's contribution to his community. And then Rocky is a heartwarming story of a loser's opportunity to change. So that's what the structure then of my body is going to look like. I put it out here in a different way so that you can see how the example, 3 favorite movies I enjoy that inspire me, and there I just kind of wrote them out in kind of a rough sentence. So there are 4 keys then to your introduction. So yes, I answered the question. The question was, what are your 3 favorite movies? Sure, I answered it, and I even threw in a little twist and say not just my 3 favorite movies, but 3 movies that inspire me. Am I done? Have I finished the project, or can I make this better? Can I do better? Well, the 4 keys to having a better introduction and the things that you want to look at and say, well, have I done this? Have I done anything to capture the reader's attention? Well, I made a minor attempt by throwing in the inspirational aspect. So that was one of my attempts of trying to capture the reader's attention. It's like, oh, it's not, well, if they inspire him, maybe they'll inspire me, right? Did I secure the reader's attention by answering any unspoken questions? How about number 3, did I direct the reader's attention to the real purpose of my paper? What's the real purpose of my paper? I really want you to love movies that have heart, that have inspiration, that will encourage you, inspire you, motivate you to be a better person. I don't think I did that in that original, so I'm gonna have to make some adjustments. And did I prepare the reader's attention to follow the path of your paper? I think I did. I think I took the 3 points and got us on the right track, and we're taking the train down the right trail. So I think I did a pretty good job at that. The introduction of your paper should be both as brief as possible and as long as necessary. You don't want it too short, but you don't want it too long. And again, that's why you got to write it down and then go back and look it over again and read it out loud and see it again and say, well, did I do enough? But I don't want to do too little. I like my introductions to be on the shorter side, and then I'll use the following paragraphs to have longer supporting points. But sometimes I've made the mistake of being too short, and then they're too choppy, and you got to be careful with that. And I also haven't done enough to inspire the person to continue reading, right? So you got to grab somebody, you got to grab their attention, and then you got to keep it. Those are hard things to do. In writing the introduction of your message, you can draw out such things as personal anecdotes. Again, I said movies that inspire me. Maybe I take another step and say these movies changed my life. These movies transformed my life because, and then give an illustration of a personal story or experience. Maybe current events. In times like this, we need movies that will inspire us to love our neighbors. Maybe historical accounts. We're using a historical account to explain why these are my 3 favorite movies. Biographical accounts, or even popular myths. And so there's reasons and there's things that we can draw from to get people to grab their attention, to get them excited, to want to move on. I remember the first time I preached, and my pastor said, your introduction was too long. Remember, you've got 2 minutes to get and keep their attention, or they're gone. Mentally, they're gone. It's the same thing with plural noun proposition papers. The introduction of your message can consist or draw from other things like secondhand stories, humor. If you're funny and you have a humorous event, you can always begin with that. Biblical narratives. You can use the Bible as a great source. So many times people forget that that the Bible has all kinds of great narrative historical accounts. And so maybe I might say something like, my 3 favorite movies, that inspire me like David and Goliath or Daniel in the lion's den, kind of a situation. Cultural issues, obviously, we're constantly going to be addressing political, pop cultural issues. And so, identifying those things will come into play quite often. And then relevant quotations. I'm not huge on going out and like trying to find a quote and then pasting it to my idea. I like it to be more organic and natural. But a good quote is definitely a powerful aid to writing a good introduction to your paper. Finally, keep in mind the introduction is like a movie trailer. The introduction's like a movie trailer. How many times have you watched a movie trailer and it looked fantastic? It looked fantastic. They got you excited, they got you interested, they got you curious, they drew you in just enough to where you're like, okay, great, I'm gonna go pay $15 and pay for 3 other people to go with me. Well, that's what your introduction is supposed to do. It's supposed to get people excited. It's supposed to be long enough to get them excited. A movie trailer usually is, 60 seconds, right? Gets just enough to get them excited, but not too much to give away all the plot lines. Not too much to where you're rambling on, just enough. And so, writing the introduction is an absolutely critical, but one of the funner parts of writing the paper, I must say, because really all your hard research is done, and so now you're making it tighter, you're making it crisp, you're making it fun, you're making it exciting. It's like having an ice cream sundae. You've got the ice cream, and the ice cream's great, and you even got some chocolate, beautiful. But what else can we do? Can we put sprinkles on there? How about some bananas? Nuts? But you got to be careful. You don't want to put too much.